Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Early Edge. We are brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. My name, of course, is Nejad, otherwise known as the Counselor of Cash. And it's Talkback Tuesday. We're going to have a lot of questions in the chat because on Tuesdays we always do. We've got the crew to answer your questions. A big NBA slate, a big NHL slate. We've got college football. We've got experts to answer questions on all of that. That, of course, includes soccer with buckets. Let's see how we did yesterday on the recap screen. It's a winning day. We go 4-3. I hit my 49ers play. Mikey B goes 2 for 2. The SportsLine pick comes in. I got to tell you, Prop Stars was just a few yards away. He really should have hit that Tyler Warren prop. A lot of targets, a lot of missed targets coming from Phillip Rivers to him specifically. And Larry Hartstein, the 6.5 tackles and an assists. Nick Cross was on that 6. He was on the number 6 for about a quarter and a half and couldn't get that extra tackle or assist. So very close to a great day, but it's still a good day at 4-3. Let's bring in the stars of the show and turn good to great with what a cast we have on Talkback Tuesday. Hit the like button for Mikey B. We got buckets. We got Tom Casale and Jeff Hochman. I'm not even sure where to start. Mikey B, I'm going to start with you. We've got a huge NBA slate. Talk to me because you usually come with 2 picks. You're not required to. You can come with 1. But today you have 3 picks. It must be a big NBA slate.
14 NBA games tonight, Sia. 14. They're getting ready to take Christmas Eve off in anticipation of the big Christmas Day slate. So we got lots of hoops tonight.
Jeff, I got to get your reaction real quick to last night's game. Specifically, I'm talking Niners-Colts, specifically to Phillip Rivers, just airing it out against the Robert Saleh-led defense. Just your thoughts real quick on Phillip Rivers doing what he did last night.
Yeah, I think he's amazing, but there's one limitation with him. He can't throw the ball longer than maybe 45 yards, 50 yards. But I was thinking during the game that the NFL Coach of the Year is heating up. You have 2 coaches that could possibly go worst to first in Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers and Mike Vrabel with the New England Patriots. And then you have Liam Cohen, who is my choice. Rookie head coach, possibly winning 12, 13 games. That's a narrative that the voters, I don't think, can pass up. He's my leader. And then an outside choice would be Jim Harbaugh of the Chargers, who was my pick before the season started. But I want to let everybody know, who's your pick to win NFL Coach of the Year? Let's hear it. Put it in the chat below, and we'll have a nice discussion on that.
Good call out, Jeff, there. And put it, if you're watching the show after the fact, put it in the YouTube comments who you think the Coach of the Year is going to be or should be. Tom, real quick, we got some bowl games today, and you've got a bowl game pick for us, correct?
Correct. Yeah, there's, in all honesty, if you want my honest opinion, you shouldn't bet 99% of these bowl games. But the Ohio UNLV game, there's a lot of people playing. There's very few opt-outs in that game, so that could actually be worth watching and should be a pretty entertaining game.
Buckets, people want to know what your 2 soccer picks are for today, so I want you to get right into it. But I also want to ask you, I don't know if we followed up. I think the chat might be curious. No heat issues. We're not wearing a winter coat any longer.
No winter coat. I'm rocking the short sleeve in December. Things are going good for once in the Buckets household, and we're going to continue making things good in the household by cashing those 2 tickets, Sia.
All right, well, let's hear about it. Let's hear about your 2 soccer picks today, Buckets.
Absolutely, but before I give you that, Mike Vrabel is my Coach of the Year, for those of you that were wondering. So just wanted to throw that. I think that's how you say it, Vrabel.
You pronounced it correctly. I'm actually super impressed.
Wonderful. Now let's see if I can pronounce these teams that are playing this afternoon. More great segues, S-E-G-U-E from Buckets. And we're starting with the EFL Cup quarterfinal with Arsenal taking on Crystal Palace. This is a very tough time for European footy because we have AFCON starting, which is the African Cup of Nations, which means all of the best African players are no longer playing for their clubs in Europe. They're playing for their national squads over in that competition. Some players are not affected, like Arsenal, and some players or some teams like Crystal Palace are very affected. Crystal Palace, at a minimum, are going to be missing 5 of their starting 11 players, and potentially Mateta fighting a knee injury. It could be 6 of their starting 11. They just got pounded by Leeds 4-1, and now they have to go against the best unit in European football right now, which is Arsenal. I think Arsenal win this one very easily. Their money line is minus 250. Their team total's minus 200. Not a ton of value there. So let's do a same game parlay of Arsenal on the money line, parlayed with over 1.5 goals. Again, Crystal Palace is missing too many key players, missing too many big defenders and too many big names. Arsenal might rotate here, so be careful betting on player props. But even if they rotate, I've got Arsenal winning this one 2-0, 3-0, maybe 3-1 if it gets crazy. But I love this same game parlay to get it down to playable odds for us. For my second bet, we are going to my first AFCON bet of this tournament as Nigeria are taking on Tanzania. Now I'm going with Nigeria over 1.5 team total. This is minus 135, which I know is a little bit of juice here. Go ahead and add Nigeria money line if you want to get this to plus odds. But this Nigeria side failed to qualify for the 2026 World Cups, even though they are one of the most stacked African teams in the entirety of this competition, which means now they have to go all out in AFCON because they've got nothing else to play for right now. They've got some of the biggest names, not only in African football, but in European football as well. Ademola Lookman plays for the squad. Chukwueze, Iwobi. This team has so many good strikers, and sometimes it just doesn't click. But going against a Tanzania side who is almost 100 FIFA rankings worse than them, I've got Nigeria winning this one easily, and I believe the team total should be set to 2.5. So let's grab that 1.5 at playable odds.
All right, Nigeria over 1.5, team total minus 135. We've got so many picks to get to. Mikey B, I'm trying to focus on some of the questions. There's a programming note I want to mention coming from Larry Hartstein. The NFL Picks show is today at 12 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. More programming notes later on in the show as it relates to Christmas and Christmas Eve on the early edge. Let's get into some NBA picks, and I'll scan the chat here, Mikey B. You've got 3 picks for us today. Get it started.
All right, see, here we go. I'm going to try not to pass out in the middle of this. This is like a chip thing where I've got more than 2 picks here, so I'll try to hang with it. So we got Brandon Ingram first and foremost over 23.5 points at minus 117. He has scored at least 24 points in 5 of his last 6 games. During that stretch, he averaged over 18 shot attempts and over 5 free throw attempts per game. The Raptors are going to be without R.J. Barrett and Jakob Poeltl again on Tuesday, so plenty of shots coming Ingram's way. Who is he placing? The Miami Heat, who play at the fastest pace in the league. He played them about a week ago. He had 28 points in that game. So in this favorable spot, I think he goes over 23.5 points. And then we're going to go to Suns-Lakers. We're going to do Devin Booker over 25.5 points at minus 112. Grayson Allen listed as doubtful for the Suns, so they'll be missing one of their top scoring options there. That should result in even more shots for Booker, who had 38 points in his last game against the Warriors. Even with Allen on the floor, the last time the Suns played the Lakers, Booker had 27 points. Lakers have the 8th worst defensive rating in the league. So I think Booker comes away with at least 26 points. And finally, Pelicans, Cavaliers, Saddiq Bey over 14.5 points at minus 118. This is the second game of a back-to-back set for the Pelicans. Zion Williamson played yesterday. He has not played consecutive days yet this season, so I think he sits. Herb Jones left yesterday's game with a sprained ankle, so I don't think he plays today either. Even with those guys in the fold, Bey has scored at least 15 points in 13 of his last 14 games. The Cavaliers have been awful without Evan Mobley. They have allowed at least 116 points in all 5 games that he's missed this season. They gave up 132 to the Hornets last night. So I think Saddiq Bey goes over 14.5 points. And I didn't pass out. I do need some water.
Well, while you're sipping on that water, there's a question from J. Rill. It says, Mikey B, what do you think about Kel'el Ware over 25.5 points and rebounds at minus 115?
I do like that. No Tyler Hero for the Heat. So the Heat have been continuing to play big, and Ware has been awesome. The double big with him and Bam Adebayo. So I do like that.
There was a question for you, Buckets. Buckets, how about Arsenal win halftime, full-time, plus 120?
I really do like that because, frankly, I don't think Crystal Palace score today. When you're betting halftime, full-time, this bet gets very tricky because betting halftime, full-time is different than betting for them to win both halves. So what this halftime, full-time bet is as long as Arsenal is up at halftime and they win the game, this ticket cashes. If you bet them to win both halves, they have to win each half individually. So if you're going to bet this, go with the way that Bill Eve just did it. Also, I want to say real quick, Mikey B, you told me to fade the Heat when my Heat was out on that Celtics minus 6.5 on Friday night. That cash. Just wanted to give some flowers to Mikey B here.
All right.
Buckets. Thank you, Buckets. Appreciate the little PR there.
A little PR for me, too. We cashed a halftime full-time bet yesterday on the San Francisco 49ers. So just want to put that out there. Maybe we're going to go on a halftime full-time roll here. We got to get to some college football and some hockey, Jeff and Tom. I do want to tell you, though, first about a couple of SportsLine picks, but also a BetMGM boost. BetMGM players will receive an any sport parlay boost today. Just build a parlay of any sports wagers, and if you win, you will receive extra bonus dollars. Again, courtesy of BetMGM. Let's get to some sports line picks because these implicate college football. And Tom, I am going to ask you about these games. We've got Mike Tierney, who likes Toledo, Louisville over 43.5. It's a very low total at -110. And then we're going with Ohio +7 versus UNLV -115. That one courtesy of Bruce Marshall. Now, Tom, I know you've got some picks as it relates to a prop in this Ohio game. So we're going to get to that in a couple of minutes. But talk to me about either of these two games, not necessarily these picks. And we can go back to the five shot, Ben. Toledo, Louisville. I was thinking about playing Louisville, and I understand there's opt-outs and there's injuries and all of that. But Louisville still has their head coach, and they still have their starting quarterback playing. I do think that's pretty critical here. I don't know if they're going to be with their running backs. There are some issues on both sides of the ball for them. But any thoughts on the Louisville line against Toledo?
Yeah, I mean, I think the total's a little low, so I can see going over there. See, for me, it's just when you get these bigger spreads in bowl season, it's just hard for me to lay the number only because of the unknown, only because of the motivation factors, So 8.5 in a bowl game where there's not a lot there to play for, and I always worry about the late opt-outs too, like right before the game. I know me and Jeff had one of those for Jacksonville State in the first bowl game. Luckily they won, but right before the game, the Sun Belt Player of the Year we found out wasn't playing. So those things concern me, but I do think the low total I would lean over there.
Jeff, any thoughts on this game or any of the other bowl games today? We've got three.
No, I passed on those. I just was going back and forth. I like Toledo, and then I read that they have a bunch of opt-outs, but I would probably lean over with Tom in this one.
Yeah, this line, I believe it was 6.5, and it's sort of skyrocketed up to 9.5 in some places here for the New Orleans Bowl. We got a game at, I think this one is the one at 2 o'clock, I think. 3 games today throughout the course of the day going into the night. All right, we got to take a break because, Jeff, we got to get to your hockey pick next. And then, of course, Tom, we are going to circle back to college football and get your college football prop for that Ohio game. You'll see it along with your questions. We've got to answer some of your questions right after this message from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Buckets, I guess this comment is for you from Snug the Cat. He says, how about a halftime, full-time bender at Raising Cane's?
Oh, dude. I don't really care about getting sponsored by anyone, but if Cane's ever wanted to sponsor me, I would throw all of you under the bus immediately, no sec. I would do anything for a Raising Cane sponsorship.
Why would you have to throw us under the bus?
Well, if they reach out to me and they're like, Buckets, we'll give you a lifetime supply of Canes, and all you have to do is maybe take care of Sia Nejad. I'm just saying. Sia might disappear for a lifetime of Canes. I'm just putting that out there, guys.
All right, so literally throw me under the bus. I thought you were just...
I will find a bus. No, yeah, literally.
Figure of speech. All right, fair enough. I wanted to look at some of these other questions here, but while I'm looking at that, Jeff, talk to me about the Ottawa Senators tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Sia. Ottawa Senators -143. Both these teams are playing the Buffalo Sabres, by the way. Both these teams are red hot. Buffalo's won 6 in a row. But they've been outshot in 5 of those 6 games. Ottawa's won 4 in a row and 5 of their past 6. The Buffalo Sabres have dominated the Ottawa Senators in the last 5 matchups. They're 5-0. However, they have been outshot in every single game, 177 to 128. One of those victories was back in October. Buffalo won 8-4 against the Senators team that was missing a lot of their key players. Buffalo tallied 3 power play goals, 1 shorthanded goal, and 1 empty netter. Now, you look at the metrics, they certainly favor Ottawa. I love this Ottawa team. A lot of people know that. The Senators rank 4th in shots against per game, including 1st in limiting high danger chances, and they have a plus 89 shot differential. Buffalo, by contrast, they're just 26th, and they have a minus 50 shot differential. Look at puck possession. Certainly favors the Ottawa Senators. They rank second in face-off win percentage. Buffalo is dead last, 32nd. And finally, my power rankings. I have the Ottawa Senators 10 spots higher than Buffalo, and there's a lot of love in the chat for Ben Johnson, Coach of the Year. That's another good choice, by the way.
Yeah, Lydia put in the chat that he says he knows who the worst Coach of the Year is. And I wasn't exactly sure who he was alluding to. Tom, do you have a candidate off the top of your head for worst Coach of the Year?
Well, if it's anybody but the guy coaching for the Jets, that answer is wrong because he has no business coaching in this league. None.
Oh, fair enough. All right, that's at least one candidate. Put your worst Coach of the Year in the chat. I was going to take this show in a crazy direction with a Raising Cane's type question, but I'm going to wait maybe for a later show to get into that. Let's go to Tom Casale. We've got a lot of questions too that I'm going to get to, soccer questions, NBA questions. If you have NHL questions, put them in the chat. Tom, talk to me about your prop for today.
Yeah, you mentioned Bruce gave out Ohio. I was going to give out Ohio too. I saw last night it was 7 at some places and 6.5 at others. I wanted to see where it was this morning, and it's 6.5 across the board. I'm just a stickler at that, the number 7. I like the opportunity to be down 14 late and still cover or push. So that's 6.5. It took me off Ohio. I'm going to go instead with a prop. Parker Navarro over 73.5 rushing yards. Ohio's won 6 straight bowl games. I'm pretty sure Navarro's been there for all 6. I think he's been at Ohio since the mid 80s. And you look at what he's done the last 2 bowl games. I've taken this the last 2 years. 2 years ago, it was like 58.5. He got 71. Last year, I think it was like 68.5, 69.5. He got 111. So he runs a lot in bowl games. He's gone over this total 7 times this season. And you look at the last 3 games specifically, 50 carries for 307 yards. UNLV really struggles to stop the run. They're 97th in college football and 176 yards per game. They struggle against dual threat quarterbacks. So I think Navarro, he shines in bowl games. I like Ohio. I think they're live maybe to win this outright if you're looking just to, play around today with some stuff. But I think he gets 100 yards rushing. So give me over 73.5 yards.
Ohio was another team I kind of liked as well. I mean, I don't like either of these teams. Like in the regular season, I wasn't really on either of these teams, but I like Ohio in this one as well. But we're going with Parker Navarro over 73.5 rushing yards. Let's get to some chat questions. Dweezy Dub says, I guess this is kind of a general question for you, Mikey B. With the holidays coming around, he says, will NBA teams take it easy tonight due to playing on Christmas?
So we're already seeing some guys being ruled out, like Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby were ruled out for the Knicks. Not part of a back-to-back set, but they are playing on Christmas Day, so they ruled them out. There are some teams playing back-to-backs. This is the second game talked about for the Pelicans, the Cavaliers, the Pacers are a few of them. So I wouldn't be betting any sides until at least we get the afternoon injury reports.
How about from, let's see, Chaz22. Mikey, do you like Queen double-double?
Yeah, I don't mind that because we're talked about Mobley being out for the Cavaliers, and I don't think Zion plays. So, yeah, Queen should get a lot of minutes.
Buckets, Arsenal moneyline parlay, Man City moneyline.
I will answer that, but before I do see it, I got a little live play alert for everyone there watching at home. Senegal is taking on Botswana right now. It is in the 20th minute. Around the 25th minute, it's currently 0-0. If there is still no goal, take Senegal first half money line. It's minus 160 right now. I understand that's a bit too juicy for everyone. Wait 5 minutes and pray for no goal because Senegal should have had 3 already. They've got 5 shots on target, 80% possessions, 5 corners. Botswana is holding on for dear life. So as soon as Senegal first half money line line becomes within your comfort zone, go ahead and take that for a unit. Just had to get that out there. I also, Ray Garcia, I do like Arsenal money line, Man City money line. I'm already on Arsenal money line, so that one's a no-brainer. Man City taking on Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest also missing 2 big players to AFCON, while Man City just has so much talent. It doesn't really matter how many players they lose to this competition. They beat Brentford 2-0 without playing 6 of their 11 starters. They're going to rotate here. It doesn't really matter. I think that's a fantastic shout.
Jeff Hochman, it was Liddy who said the worst coach of the year candidate is Pete Carroll. Any thoughts there? Because I think that's a pretty, I like Pete Carroll as a person, and we know he can chew a stick of gum like anybody, but he looks kind of lost out there. He looks like very old school, he hasn't conformed to the modern day of coaching.
Yeah, it looks like the game has passed him up quite a bit. I mean, but is it really his fault that Geno Smith, is just putting in a clunker of a year? He looked really good in Seattle, and maybe that is an indictment on him, his coaching. But like he was Geno Smith. He had the same coach in Seattle. So yeah, I mean, Pete Carroll is a good choice. Off the top of my head, I really can't think of the worst coach right now. I'm more focused on the best coach of the year.
He's so positive.
What about the Giants combo of Brian Dable and Mike Kafka? Can we lump them together and put
I don't know what's going on with Mike Kafka. And
That's
he
another
doesn't
good
either.
choice.
He doesn't know he's there. I think he's confused. He thinks he's just going to go pick up his paycheck. Then they put a headset on him, and he's like, whoa, I'm supposed to do all this?
Yeah, and he's the second worst coach in New York, so that tells you how bad the guy for the Jets is.
Yeah, Philip Terraza said Shane Steichen. I think that might be one of the worst answers. I like you, Philip, but Shane Steichen did so much with Daniel Jones that nobody else could unlock, and then he's obviously been beset with injuries at the quarterback position. I think the fact that the Colts have been competitive last night and the week before says a lot about Shane Steichen versus some of the other NFL coaches in the league. Let's go, Jeff, to a hockey question. Do we like the LA Kings versus the Kraken on back-to-back? I think that's the question.
I think that line is super inflated. The LA Kings were really good last year at home, and they are struggling this year at home. I would not want to lay minus 250 with the LA Kings tonight.
And just to wrap this up, Tom, and maybe Jeff, if you have any thoughts here, but we do have the 3 games tonight. And Philip Terrazas just wants to know if you have any leans on a side. I think you mentioned you liked Ohio. Did you have any leans with respect to the other 2 games? And again, these are just leans, obviously.
Listen, I just don't have an opinion on that Southern Miss Western Kentucky game. I looked at it. There's too many variables in that game. I think that's one of those bowl games I was talking about that you just stay away. And again, 8.5 is a lot for a bowl game. I'm not a big Toledo guy this year. I don't think this was a great Toledo team, but I guess I would lean taking the points only because I always wonder, does Louisville really care? I just, I don't know how much they care about being there.
Jeff, any thoughts?
I do have a thought on tomorrow's game between Hawaii and California. I did put Hawaii at SportsLine plus 1.5. The line's flipped to minus 1.5. I don't think that's a major move off any key numbers, right? And what's the biggest thing in bowl action that we look for? It's motivation. Hawaii is going to be motivated on their home field. Timmy Chang has done an excellent job with this team, going from 3 wins in 2022 to an 8-4 record this season. They are taking this bowl game seriously. And if you look at special teams, wow, huge advantage for Hawaii. They convert 95.6% of their field goals. Cal, 73.3%. If the teams have to punt, Hawaii ranks 26th in punting. California, 125th. I think Hawaii is better on both lines. 3rd in red zone scoring compared to Cal's 73rd ranking. Strength of schedule, closer than you might think. Hawaii has a plus 3.6 point differential. California is minus 4.7. My model has Hawaii winning this game outright 62.1% of the time. That's even without wide receiver Jackson Harris. So I really like Hawaii tomorrow night to win outright.
Farzad says the Rainbow Warriors will roll them. And if I remember correctly, Farzad is kind of boots on the ground. I think he lives in Hawaii. So if you have any special insight, Farzad, feel free to drop it in the chat. I do want to get to the recap screen, and I do want to mention some scheduling stuff for the early edge. And Buckets, I have a question for you. It looks like Aaron Bailey's looking for an exact score prediction, but I'm not sure which game he's looking. Oh, there we go. Do we have any? Oh, just any game. Buckets, do you have a score prediction?
Just in general, I'll rattle off a couple real quick. Vitoria taking on Sporting in Portugal. I'm on Sporting to win 2-1. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. I'm on Arsenal to win 3-0. There's 2 for you, Aaron.
All right. Scheduling. So tomorrow we will have an early edge that is released at 10 o'clock, but it's not going to be a live show. So Christmas Eve, we'll have an early edge, but it won't be super chat involved, obviously, because we're gonna put it out at 10, but we won't be live. It's going to talk about a lot of the Christmas Day games, whether it's the NFL or NBA. We're going to have you covered there. And on Christmas Day, we will not have an early edge show. So no show at 10 in the morning on Christmas Day, but we're back with you on Friday, not just with the early edge at 10. We've got the prop show at 3 o'clock later that day. And Fantasy Football Today DFS, which is normally on Thursday, will be at 11 o'clock on Friday instead of 11 o'clock on Thursday. So full list of programming on Friday with the early edge at 10, Fantasy Football Today DFS for those wondering about that, and, of course, the prop show at 3 o'clock. But on Christmas Day, you won't see an early edge show there. All right. I think – do we have any other questions? Let me go around the horn. Mikey B first, and then Buckets go.
Yeah, there was a question about Jalen Tyson to score 15-plus points. I don't mind if you want to take that risk right now. There's a chance, because it is the second game of a back-to-back, and Donovan Mitchell dealt with an illness recently. There's a chance maybe he doesn't play. I'm not sure about DeAndre Hunter. I personally wouldn't bet it, but at the odds, I don't mind if you want to take a chance there.
Buckets.
Senegal first half money line is now minus 125 for those of you waiting for better lines on that live bet.
All right. Live bet there. And Jeff Hochman, would you play the Ottawa Senators money line in regulation to get that juice down a little bit?
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's plus 105 right now for the regulation line, but do keep in mind 1 out of every 5 games will go to overtime. So, but at minus 143, if you can get Ottawa at minus 143, I think that's a very good price. They really should be minus 160.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean listen, you're giving it out because you think it's a good bet and it's a good price, but it's always interesting because some of these sports, like in soccer and in hockey, you've got like different types of bets than you would get in a normal like NFL or NBA game. So it's always good to bring that stuff up here. Thanks, Canucks Hero, for that. All right, I think we got through most of the questions. Forgive me if I didn't see all of them. When I'm in studio, I can see them. It's a little hard for me to scan through them in studio. So apologies if I didn't get to your questions. But let's take a look at the recap screen and get everybody out of here. We've got 3 picks from Mikey B. Brandon Ingram over 23.5 points at minus 117. Devin Booker over 25.5 points at minus 112. And Sadiq Bey over 14.5 points at minus 118. Then we go to Buckets picks. He just gave out a live pick on Senegal, which you can still take it at a pretty decent number. But Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, Arsenal money line plus over 1.5 goals at minus 125. And Nigeria versus Tanzania, Nigeria over 1.5 team total minus 135. Parker Navarro over 73.5 rushing yards. That one courtesy of Tom Casale. And then we go to the Ottawa Senators money line minus 143. That one from Jeff Hochman. We've got a couple of SportsLine picks. Now, we did caution you on these bowl games, or at least Tom and Jeff did to some degree, but we do have some SportsLine picks from Mike Tierney and Bruce Marshall. Toledo, Louisville over 43.5 at minus 110 from Mike, and Ohio plus 7 versus UNLV minus 115. That one from Bruce Marshall. What a great show. Again, we'll see you kind of tomorrow with a show that we're going to have at 10 o'clock covering some Christmas Day games. But otherwise, I guess we'll see you on Friday for our live show and a bunch of other programming that we have. I'm trying to see if there was anything else that I needed to cover other than Better Days Ahead. Just said it all. Happy holidays to everybody. So Mikey B, Buckets, Tom Casale, Jeff, anybody have anything crazy going on for the holidays? Buckets? Nothing?
I bought Freya a ball pit for the living room, so we're just going to hang out in there.
That sounds amazing. That actually does sound amazing. All right, you have fun with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining the show. Shout out to Katie Taylor, Richard Pierre. Thanks, everybody, for hitting the like button, being a part of this show. I hope everyone has an amazing holiday. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock for our Early Ed show. But again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll see you very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, for now, we rest our case.